Do. Woo! Yeah. Hi, Luke.
Hi, Shannon.
And hi, journeyers. It's 4 o'clock on Monday morning. So we are here to talk to you and each other about, a lot of stuff. Mostly improv and what it has to do with your life. But usually we reference some sort of Disney movie.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right? So I mean, I feel like you get the whole gamut of topics around here. I was gonna say that I do this thing now. This is the new thing.
Yes.
Cool. And it's still happening. What happens when someone's purpose in your life changes or is no longer needed? How does a practice of improv prepare us to navigate that?
Okay.
That I feel like this is it's a rough topic, right?
It is.
We've talked about you're like, yeah, you're right. Well, you and I, Luke, as far as purpose goes, have talked about like the perspective of our own purpose in other people's lives and how we can navigate what our purpose is in other people's lives. And then, of course, like in our lives, I won't reiterate everything. Go back and watch the shows. Watch the shows. But I was thinking about this idea that sometimes other people's purposes in our lives, it changes, and maybe we repurpose, or it changes and it's just like, I don't want that in my life anymore. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the example that comes up in mind right now is just like, okay, I went out all the time, like, and now I don't go out all the time, and I enjoy staying at home more. Like, and just going out all the time served a purpose of like socializing, building community, and making friends and relationships and all that stuff. Whereas now, like, you may not feel like you need to. The purpose has changed to like, I don't need to go out all the time. I'm pretty good. I'm good by myself. Like, or I'm good. I found how I fit into my social network, and I found someone that I really want to spend a lot of time with, and therefore like I want to build more of a life at home. So
I immediately, you were talking about like going out versus staying home in general. There are lots of other things that could change, but once you started talking about the environment changing, I started thinking about scene painting, because the second the second part of this question is, how does a practice of improv prepare us to navigate that? And when we scene paint, for those of you who are like, scene painting, what are you saying? It's improv jargon. Scene painting, you get on stage and you literally say what is there. Since improvisers don't use props, we just say what is there. So there is a lamp here, and on the little lamp table, there's a bowl of candy. And I was thinking, Luke, that when we scene paint, just that, like there's a lamp, and on the lamp table there's a bowl of candy. That is one thought. That is one imaginative uh, uh, paint or scene. But if we say there's a lamp, it's old, the bulb, it doesn't work. The candy dish is dusty, and the candy inside is, there's only 2 or 3 pieces. That's like a completely different scene. And then if we take there's a modern lamp, right? There's a modern lamp. It's sleek. It's silver. It has like, who knows, changing light bulbs inside. And the candy is red and green. It has CBD and
Yeah. Ooh.
in it. Oh, I know, right? Right? Like that's it's still a lamp and a bowl of candy,
Yeah.
but it's a completely different thought process of how we are processing. As far as the characters that come into that scene.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this idea of, okay, well, I'm staying home more. That's an environment. I'm going out more. That's an environment. It's okay for those scenes to change, those environments to change, and for you to meld into that environment, and say no thank you, to the people who need to be over there in the modern lamp, in the modern lamp place, and you're here in your candy dish, like crusty candy dish place.
Yeah. And like when you were talking about like, the older lamp and the more modern lamp, like it just sprung to mind that, like in the general thought about like people change, people grow and change to different things. And so, like naturally those things will start to occur where it's like, oh, this served a purpose, but it's like it's not really serving a purpose anymore. It's just gathering dust. Or this is really serving a really cool purpose that like I want to pursue and keep on going with.
Right.
And so, and it's, the thing is, like, I mean, to answer the first question, like, or to answer part of it, what happens when someone's purpose in your life changes or is no longer needed? It's well, and to answer both questions, it's all about just like pulling back and getting perspective, and then being flexible about it. So just being aware about like, like the things are going to change, the scenes are going to change, people's ideas are going to influence how the scenes are going to change.
Yeah, there's some flexibility as far as what we learn in one. Okay, I've got 2 thoughts. One is flexibility. One is that we can change the scene. So the flexibilities part is that we are taught, improv teaches us to be flexible, right? Okay, well, I was going to come in as an old lady, but there's CBD or in that candy, and it's more modern. You can still come in as an old lady, right? But maybe the environment is calling for something else, and so we're going to flex a little bit. Maybe my partner has decided, whatever, painted this thing for a reason, and they're looking for a certain vibe, right? And so I can be flexible, and vice versa. Maybe I'm painting something, and whoever is entering it, I need to be able to be flexible and sort of go with the flow. And you said it, people will come in and they'll sort of weed themselves out of whatever environment that you're building. And what was the other thing I said? I wanted to talk about flexibility, and I wanted to talk about
awareness.
Go somebody go back at the tape. Rewind. I can't. It's like flexibility and you can be flexible, and then you can change, maybe. I know I can't. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you were watching, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat as far as what are the 2 things I wanted to say. I can't remember what the second thing was. But
it'll come back to you.
It'll come back to me. But the overarching idea is that we are taught, the flexibility is a big thing for me. Hi Charlotte.
Hi.
Charlotte. Yeah, the overall being taught flexibility is an overarching idea. I'll keep thinking about it.
Okay. Well, and it's really fascinating. So right now, I'm teaching Improv 101, and I've been in Improv 101 for about 10 years. So coming back to it, it's really fascinating to see it from the other side. And I absolutely love it. And it reminds me about why I love teaching, especially improv, is those discovery moments, those light bulb moments. And lots of times, like, I talk with students and, just talk about, like you can have, this is a time to play, a time to have fun, time to figure out, like, just let go. I mean, I'm talking about classes that I teach neurotypical adults, and so lots of times, we as adults, we just have these subconscious or conscious uh, ways, inhibitors, I guess, for a genetic term, but like these things that get in the way about, like, oh, I don't know, either personal, like, confidence building, like, I don't know, I'm too scared, I'm used to being scared, this is where I'm comfortable, and I want to gain more confidence, or like, oh man, I didn't even realize that I was bulldozing everyone, and I was too confident, and how to play with that. And so, but it's those moments of a lot of different discovery of about, like, oh, like, I came in with a purpose of, like, I wanted to be more confident, and I'm starting to be aware and be flexible to those changes about, like, where I'm at with my confidence level, and where I need to go with it, and what do I need to do to get there.
Yeah, I feel like that bit fits right into the how does a practice prepare us to navigate it, right? Like, I love this. You're like, maybe I wanted to be confident, maybe I'm overconfident, maybe I'm underconfident, but we get to practice on the stage. And when we practice those things, specifically here in this, like, what happens when someone's purpose in your life changes, we get to practice saying things like no thank you, or we get to practice looking at our lives and seeing what has changed, right? Maybe that lamp started out as a modern lamp and it changed into this. Maybe it's not that you got a whole new lamp, it's just that it changed into this other lamp. And the word you said, that maybe it's something I said as well, but you were like, the awareness of the change. I think, let's talk about this a little bit. Sometimes in this idea of, like, the purpose of someone in your life changes. Sometimes it's you that has changed. Like you were talking in the very beginning, right? Of, like, maybe you were going out, and now you're staying home more. And what it feels like is your friends have changed. Like, you're like, why don't you see me anymore? Why don't we hang out so much? But you haven't become aware that you have changed. And that you don't need, or that you are gravitating away from these other people, and that you're gravitating towards your knitting community, your new whatever it is, your book club community, or whatever community that it is that's not staying up until 4 a.m.
I don't know. There's some knitting communities out there.
They're like hardcore. It's a knit off. We are knitting till 4.
All night knitting.
All night knitting. I'm sure there's got to be some, like, super awesome bomber jackets you can get. Right. Like, yes. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited. If you're watching and you're a knitter and you knit till 4, let us know.
Yes, please.
We want to support you.
I do.
But yeah, there is an awareness that we have to have of self, even in a scene, right?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
we are making choices, I'm always telling my students, make a choice, make a choice, make a strong choice. And once you've made that choice, really ground in to the choice that you've made, because when we ground into the choice, we can see the environment change around us. We can see our partners make choices based on the choice that we've made, or at least be influenced by that. And in this scenario of talking about when what is no longer needed, who is no longer needed, when we make a choice about ourselves and who we want to be, it's easier to see people will gravitate away or gravitate towards. But
Yeah.
if we don't make a choice about who we are, it can be really hard to see whether or not somebody is needed in your life or not, because you
Yeah.
just are sort of grasping at things that you said it before, feeling comfortable in. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
this makes me feel comfortable,
Yeah.
even though it may not be something that you need.
Right. Yeah. And I got to go further with what you had said, because a lot of people like uh, focus in on appreciation from the other, from another person
Ooh.
to them, about like, or they're looking for acceptance from another person when they should, like, when it'd be great to just go into the self and be like, I
Mhm.
appreciate myself, and it doesn't
Mhm.
matter about anybody else, because I need to appreciate myself first.
Yeah.
um, and like with drama therapy, that's there's a lot of exercises to work on perspective of like,
Mhm.
okay, how can I, there's a thing called internal family systems. And so
Mhm.
part of that is like, working with an emotion that you have inside yourself, and to be aware of it. And so it's just like, so say for example, like I want to talk to my more confident self. We'll just go with the confidence thing.
Mhm.
So so you would treat confidence as more of as a person. So somebody might represent
Mm.
confidence, and you would talk with them as if the confidence was an embodied person. um,
Mhm.
and but it would be an extension of yourself, and you could kind of have that conversation about like, like I'm aware of your presence. What do you need? What can I provide? How can I support
Mm.
you? Thank you very much. And then come back to yourself. um,
Yeah.
and because yeah, like it's like, to put it in better terms, like basically sometimes our acceptance is externalized. So
Mhm.
it's all about like, and this happens a lot, with a lot of social media of like, Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff, Facebook too, about
Mhm.
like, well, I posted something. Why don't people like it?
Like
Yeah, please like it, please like me, like, and we all get in that mindset, that
Mhm.
because the buttons are designed, to like, or to love,
Mhm.
or to not like, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Or so and if I don't have this many likes or this many comments, that like that's I don't feel accepted, therefore I can't accept myself. So it can like
Mm.
domino effect. But one of the ways to come back to it, which you were just saying, was just like, like if you, it's you uh, need to find a way to ground yourself and be like, you know what, I like myself, and
Mhm.
I'm sharing this post because you know what, I'm gonna share it with everyone, but I'm sharing it because I like it,
Right.
and starting off from there, um, rather than being like, I'm sharing this post and I hope everyone else likes it. So
Mm. Yeah, I feel like it's a very subtle difference.
yeah,
Is a very subtle difference, but it's a very powerful difference, because really we start to see how much power we have. Like, I'm sharing
yeah,
this thing because I like it. It's
mhm,
awesome. The end. Right?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I like it. The end.
yeah.
I do want to talk to you about, Luke.
Mhm.
Um, Oh, grief.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
were talking, about sort of just internal family systems, right? You
Yeah.
were talking about internal family systems, and you were talking about talking to the confident part of yourself. I was thinking about, yes, also one of the things we have yet to chat about is
Mhm.
when this person changes, or they leave your life, or they are transitioning out of your life somehow because their purpose is not needed. I wonder if there is grief. There's
Yeah.
grief.
Oh yeah.
There's grief
Yes. Yeah.
sometimes. Like
Yeah.
we release this person, and like, maybe we really liked going out, whatever it was that
Yeah.
we really liked doing. But now we can't do it anymore, or we don't want to do it. However, there's this
Hmm.
like loss that we have to go through. And I
Yeah.
wonder, as far as being a drama therapist, how we, through the drama therapist scope, how
Hmm.
do we go through processing that grief and
Yeah.
that loss?
Yeah. Yeah. I, when I always start off with awareness about, like, and so because that's going to start everything off. So I kind of imagine that, like, when you were talking, I was imagining like either a frame, and you have the person in there, or you like,
Mm.
or to put it in baking terms, you bake something and it deflates in the middle. It's just like, oh no, you had an expectation that this is going to be so
Yes.
good, and then all of a sudden, oh no.
Sorry, Moose. Sorry, flambe Moose,
I know.
whatever you're
Oh
making.
no, my moose. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah. And so like, I mean, yeah, but like with a person, like, you have this certain framework about, like, okay, I
Mm,
connect with this person because they are, my go-to friend, that I go out with all the time, or they're my go-to friend, that I talk about what I'm so stressed about.
mhm.
And now they're not there for any number of reasons. They, like that. Sometimes it's just, sometimes it's like, maybe, yeah, there are a lot of different reasons. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, yes, I like, you do need to go through like, to fully work through it. I would suggest, like, acknowledging the feeling of that loss, of, like, I feel, I and like, and also noting where that level is, being like, I feel lost because I can't relate to them anymore in that capacity. And then also, like, also being aware of what you're, like, there's another exercise where basically it's like, here's a, what a small scenario would be, or scene would be, with them, versus like what would be a
Mm,
scene without them, but kind of the same premise.
mm.
So you would still, uh like, in one scene you would have like the more modern lamp, and the other scene you would have like the dusty lamp, and
Mhm.
being like, and then you would reflect off of that with the rest of the group. um
Yeah,
but you would also have the rest of the group to lean on too,
that's
about like,
right.
hey, this is what I see. I saw your body move in this way. I heard your tone of voice change. And and then also, there's the self-reflection, be like, when I was in this, I felt this way, versus when I was in this scenario, I felt this way. and
Yeah.
um and so just noting the juxtaposition between the two can help launch you to, okay, I feel like I've got a good amount of awareness and I can move on, or there's something else that I want to explore further, and
Mhm.
carrying on from there.
There is, as you're talking about exercises in improv, there are, naive games.
Yeah.
And I am thinking of one in particular where a person will get on stage. Usually there are three people, but the two people are waiting outside. So they can't see or hear what the person on stage, their first partner, is doing. And the person will get on stage and they'll mime some things whatever, brushing their teeth. And then they'll also talk to no one as if the other two people are there. They'll just say, like, that's right. I thought you'd say that. And then they'll brush their teeth and then they'll move on and do something else. But what they're doing is leaving space. That, like what you said was, I think you said you're anticipating your expectations. You're expecting that someone is going to step in. And so that person, then we have another person come in. The first person repeats, like brushing their teeth and saying, I thought you would say that. And the second person tries to fit in the scene as if they know what's going on. And the third person, and they also, the second person, uh, leaves some holes. They pretend that the third person is also there. And it makes me think about what you're saying as far as loss, not necessarily grief, but the loss of having a partner, like having someone there. You still need to, in this particular game, you still need to ground into who you are, continue what you are doing, and then other people will come in and fit into who you are and what you're doing. And the beautiful thing for me is that once all three people are on stage, everyone is trying to support the other person. And so you have this sense of, man, I started out here alone, right? But I made room for other people just in case that they wanted to come in. And then they will. And they'll also like fit into your space and make room for some other people.
To bring in.
And when you're talking about the expectation there, improv teaches us. This is what we talk about all the time. We do talk about the individual, but we're so about the community of improv, right? Improv teaches us that we do rely on others to help come in, and it's okay, they'll go in and out. But as we are moving through this little spot, like what happens when someone's purpose in your life changes or is no longer needed? You keep going and you make room for other people's purposes to be needed and whatnot.
And last little bit about that, like basically there's like when the purpose, when someone's purpose is no longer needed, it's not that the person isn't no longer needed. It's just like there's just a relationship change, and that's okay as well. Like because the thing is, like there's a lot of levels of conversation talk. There's cocktail talk, so you just like small talk, just like, oh yes, I love this party. Oh, when's it gonna rain? Who knows? So, oh my,
oh my, the weather.
Oh no, so did you catch the game last night? So or whatever. And then, but then like as friendships continue and stuff like that, you start talking about like, oh, I love that movie, me too, let's go see that. And then like you like there's a lot of depth of conversation about like, oh man, remember when we made that memory of seeing that movie in the series that followed? That was great. I got dinner and that was a really cool time, and and it develops from there. But so even like in a friendship of your friendship's purpose can change so much, and that's okay. Like we but yeah, like I would say just acknowledge that it has changed, and that and to carry on with it, as I know it's kind of tough with a lot of different ways of how it can change, and sometimes it can change for the worse too, but at the same time just acknowledging that change happens, and to acknowledge that like I've let this go for a bit, and I'm going to carry on to new changes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Luke, I feel like, I don't know, there's probably some sort of sports term for the person who like brings it together at the end. And like, you know, I don't know, it's the game ball. We play sports here. I play so many sports. I this is a sports channel. Tune in for the points that we give and the fouls that we call and the references of sports that we use. But basically, yeah, the stats. On to the stats, Johnny. Like, there's no, we don't, I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is that you really have a great way of tying us in and wrapping us up so that we have some things to chew on. We really talked. We talked a good deal about this one. So let's see how can we make it happen? Something about if you're, we have to do this part. I gotta, what are these things? If you are having a relationship or someone is changing in your life, we hope that you can navigate that change on and
off the stage.
Where's Luke? There it is.
Off the stage.
Bye, everybody. Bye.